Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Scrappy Adam's 1000 subscriber celebration hop and giveaway. Today I have decided to scrap lift Adam, and this is the layout that I chose to scrap lift. I really liked those vertical stripes or strips of paper with the stitching on it. So I'm starting out with this really super bright orange paper from Doodlebug. I don't have a lot of Doodlebug, and this is probably, I'm going to say circa 2013. I think I've only ever bought maybe 2 packs that had Doodlebug paper in it. So it's good to get it used up. And I'm not using a huge bunch of it. I am going to use some around the border and 1 strip of the orange. And the orange works well because the arrows that are in the bucket have a lot of orange on them, and I thought they would match well because of that. So then I pulled out several other colors from my scrap bin, and I'm just trying to use stuff from the scrap bin as much as possible when I can, and so it's feeling pretty good to do that too. My scrap bins are kind of overflowing at the moment, so it's always nice to do that and not have to cut into a piece of paper that is a 12 by 12 for one little strip. That green paper looked like it was 12 by 12. It was not. It was already cut down to, I think, 11 by 12 or 10 by 12 or something like that. So I didn't feel so bad about cutting into that. And then I am randomly chopping off the ends of it. They all work out to be similar lengths just because out of habit, that's probably the length that I cut to for this. But I didn't really measure. They could be off a bit, and that's okay because those papers are staggered. It doesn't really matter. And I am going to map my photos on some black paper because there's going to be a lot of bold colors on here, so I feel like the black kind of tones everything down just a bit. I'm also going to do black stitching, so that's going to tie it in really well. And I am actually going to have a black border around the white portion of the layout, and then there will be an orange border on the outside of that. So it's going to be a double matted layout. I just flipped that paper over and wrote the date down on the back because the date's on the back of the photos, and I didn't want, since they're matted, I'm not going to be able to reference that again at the end of making this layout, and I know I won't remember, so I just jotted down the date on the back of that strip, or the orange paper that's going all the way around the outside, because I know that one's going to be visible from the back. Now, I recently bought a new distress tool. I just went to Amazon and I put paper distress tool and found one that I thought would work. I don't even know that it has a brand name on it. It was not a name. If it did, it was not a name I recognized, so I can't really refer you to that, but there were several different kinds available. I just chose this one. Most of them were on the smaller side. Some of them had like little handles on them, and I thought that might be awkward. So I just went with what I know a lot of people use. This one is very much, or very similar to, I believe it's Tonic who has one, and maybe even Tim Holtz has one that's like this, or had one. Anyway, I could not find one online at some of the scrapbooking stores, so this is what I went with. Amazon worked fine for it. And it works pretty well. I just got tired of using my scissors because I have a tendency to actually rip further into the paper than I want to. And since the blade is so small inside the little V cut of this little circular distresser, I don't risk cutting into my paper as much. So it was nice because all the blades were super sharp. I used to have a distress tool, I think it was from Making Memories, and it looked kind of like credit card sized, and it had 1 blade in it, and I cannot for the life of me find it, so that's why I needed a new one. I suspect the other one might have fallen off of my desk, the corner of my desk, into the trash can at some point. So now I've got all of these layers, or not layers, but these strips cut and distressed. They are all measured out to be no, that's not right. 1.5 inches wide. I think they're 1.5. And so I'm just putting a strip of glue down the center because the liquid glue will allow me to run it through my sewing machine without making my needle sticky from the adhesive on the ATG, and I just have to give it a little bit of time to dry before I do that. And I don't really need a ton of glue in order to do that. Pardon me. So I'm kind of just thinking there if I want to add the black or not, and I definitely do, which means I'm going to I'm going to take the sides down of that white paper just a tad bit more than I normally do. I normally just cut a 1/4 of an inch off of 2 sides, so I have 1/8 of an inch of a reveal all the way around. In this case, I definitely wanted more than that. I needed room for the black, and then I also needed room for the orange, but I wanted the orange to be a little bit larger. Now I have done 2 strips with the stitching, and now I'm just marking where my photos are going to sit, so I don't actually have to stitch through all of that because it's a little bit time consuming. And my zigzag, I had it really close together, so it was going pretty slow. I mean, slow is all relative, but it was going slower than if I had stretched it out a bit. So that's why I decided I didn't really need to waste a whole bunch of thread going through the middle where those photos are going to cover up anyway. I am pulling the black thread from the front through the back by tugging on the bobbin thread, which is white in this case. It pulls a little loop up, and then I'm able to just snag it with my tweezers there. Once I have that, I can pull the 2 threads together, add a little bit of washi tape, and trim off the excess. And so I don't always leave this part in, but I wanted to make sure that, I do that every once in a while so that people know how to do this if that's of interest. It's not very difficult, but I know not everybody has sewing experience, so I thought I'd leave that in. I also had where one of my threads ran out, so that's what I'm messing around with right there. I'm not too concerned about really making sure everything is super glued down or anything on the back. I mean, it is taped down, but I don't worry about the tape coming off or anything, especially in this case because it is covered by that black paper. And now that I have everything lined up, I'm just going to use my liquid glue to go ahead and adhere it down. Because it's lined up, I don't have to move anything. I can just lift it up a little bit and stick the glue under there. Normally I do use my ATG gun for this portion, but in this case this just seemed really easy, and so that's what I went with. While I glue down the orange outline or orange border, I will remind you this is a hop, and we are all celebrating Adam and his reaching 1,000 subscribers. Go check out his channel for sure, and check out the other people who are playing along and celebrating along with Adam. All of the links are down in my description box for your easy access. So what I have here are 2 photos. One is my husband. He is shooting a bow and arrow, and my daughter is watching him. We are actually running the archery range at Cub Scout camp, and that is just a bucket full of arrows. There are quite a few of them in there because we usually have several kids on the line. We haven't done this in a few years now, but when our kids were growing up, we did it for many years. And so we would have this big bucket of arrows, and we could kind of parse out 3 or 4 arrows per kid per end, which is what it is called in archery. It's not called a round, it's called an end. So a little bit of archery trivia there for you. So I just thought it was like a fun photo with all of those arrows, and it brought in a lot of different colors. And I have this title piece from Color Cast Designs, which I thought I would use because it's so colorful, but it has that white outline, and I really like the way that it looks over the photo. So it's going right on top of that bucket full of arrows. And I like that you can read it with the white outline. It's not a problem. I think that it's the perfect title for this because this is one of the few things that my husband actually really enjoys doing. Now, we haven't been shooting for a while. He injured his shoulder. And so we do need to get back to it, but he really enjoys shooting his bow and arrow, and he also enjoys riding bikes. And so I have currently have a foot injury, so we haven't been riding bikes either. So we do need to get back to it. So then I pulled out some stickers from Amy Tangerine's Brave and Bold collection, And I thought I would start pulling some stuff from there, which I did pull a few things, but they are going to go back on the sticker sheet pretty quick here, and I'm going to move on to something else. So then I pull out this chipboard sheet that I have. This is from Fancy Pants, and I think it's called Bright Day or something to that effect. It's an older collection as well, but I really like this piece that says "Oh So Happy" and the piece that says "Fly Free" because I feel like, you know, arrows fly free. um, they do fly free, but they definitely go in the direction that you point them if you know what you're doing. So I thought that was just a fitting thing for this particular layout. And then I popped a black heart up there as just a chipboard heart to bring in more of the black. I really like the little rainbow stars down below the title just to bring in a little bit more color there. But I'm not actually doing a lot more embellishing than this because there's not really a need to. I don't need to put tons of stuff on here with all that color and the stitching. It really does the work for me, and so I can keep it kind of simple. I did pull out my L Studio star label stamps, and I am going to use that for a little journaling spot. I'm going to stamp it in some black ink on white paper so that I have a place to just write a little note there. I was considering using those Elizabeth Craft Designs ones, but they were the wrong direction. It looks like a clipboard and it should be more vertical rather than horizontal, and it just looked awkward to me. So the other nice thing is these ones have a much darker border, and I really like the pop of black and white with all of those bold colors. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and use that. I do have to reinforce the chipboard by adding some liquid glue because, as we all know, pardon me, the chipboard doesn't always stick down. So I'm just adding a little bit of liquid glue to make sure that they kind of stay adhered in the position that I have put them down in. And that is making me pretty happy. That's pretty much it for this layout. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out Adam and everything he's got on his channel and all of the links down below for everyone else playing along. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this layout, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe as well. I will be back again tomorrow with another video, and I will see you then. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.